Let's get another plum. These are pretty good. Let's see, I'm looking for that dark purple color. Yeah, right there. They're not all, picture perfect looking, but when they start getting that rosy color starts fading away and they just start turning more of a dull purple color, that is when they are ripe. These things look pretty. It's got like that sunburst color, kind of like a Gibson guitar. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, like those Gibson Les Pauls with a sunburst. If any of you are guitar players, you'll know what I'm talking about. All right, spring is here. Check out these plums. This has been a great tree. Since year one when I planted it, it was producing fruit. This other plum tree I have, I got like maybe 4 plums off of it. These actually taste better, but it's been in the ground 4 years now. I trimmed it back. I'm trying to keep that one small, but it actually flowered for the first time this season significantly, and then it had a bunch of fruit on it and it dropped, so I was left with several fruits and they're really good. So I'm hoping next year that tree is like this tree. This tree has easily a couple hundred or so on it. I just saw a ripe one. They're all pretty close to being ripe right now anyways, but yeah, I haven't been buying any fruit from the grocery store lately, so these trees are definitely serving their purpose. Plums aren't my favorite fruit. They're not up there with like mangoes or citrus or whatever, but hey, they're free, they're here. This tree I'm excited about. This is going to be the first year I have peaches. And being in Florida, that's pretty cool. I kind of planted several of them. I'm not sure what variety this is. I might graft some from these other varieties just to make sure, because that one was like a no-name peach from Home Depot that they had on sale for $15. I had some kind of like apricot grafted. It was like a dual tree, but the apricot died. And I was skeptical whether the apricot would actually do anything here in Florida, because that's a more northern, colder climate fruit. But that graft died and I was left with a peach tree. This one's got a couple on it. This is one of the newer ones I planted this year, and same with this one. These are both Florida varieties. This one had a fruit on it, I think. It may have fell off. Oh, here we go. Yeah, still year one, so, or at least year one in the ground. I would assume this tree's 3 years old or so. The figs are on fire. Look at this tree. It's about 4 years in the ground. I've pruned it back a couple times. I've actually air grafted it. There was a couple branches I cut off, and you cut the bark layer off the branch and you wrap it with like dirt in a bag, and let it sit for several months, and it grows roots, and then you cut it off. That's the air grafting, air layering. There's different names for it, but it's very easily done on this tree. Like, I did it without fail. But if you look, it just has figs like all over the place. They're hard to see because they're the same color as the leaves, but get an idea. The figs are awesome. Next is going to be berries. The berries are on fire this year. So I made this trellis. I planted blackberries. You can see they've grown over the trellis all the way to the other side. These things are monstrous. Look at the size of that thing. Thornless blackberry. And these are out in full sun, so they have that full sweetness and flavor. In the last several days, I mean, I've been eating like a handful a day as they ripen. Here's another one. This one's like 90% ripe, but it's mostly ripe enough. Actually, that one tastes perfect. And there's still new ones growing. These things are excellent to have up here in North Florida. It's like the cold doesn't bother them. They fall asleep in the winter, and then the heat doesn't bother them. I guess they need a little bit of dormant weather. So like these wouldn't do well in South Florida, for example, or maybe even like Orlando, but up here in North Florida, they're doing excellent. Yeah, so like every day I just come out here and it's like my backyard grocery store. I also have an apple tree here. It's kind of leggy, but this year I might actually get a couple apples. Let's see. Those are the flowers. I take it back. Those things look like they're going to fall off. Oh, here we go. Wait, there's another set of flowers. Maybe this is the one I was thinking of. I've yet to have apples here on my property. I have a couple apple trees. And I actually grafted this apple onto a pear tree, and the graft took. So that's interesting. I'll show you that. It's right over here. Let's see. Here it is. That same apple tree. It's right here grafted onto this pear tree. This pear tree flowered this year, but all the flowers fell off. And this has been in the ground for 4 years or so. I'm hoping next year I actually get some fruit, but things are starting to actually bear fruit or hold fruit. You know, they're maturing more. The apples are getting close. I mean, they're flowering. They're flowering the most they ever have this year. Next, I'll show you the blueberries. This is another great one. These things are everywhere. I'm still eating this plum. Let me pick a couple of these blueberries off. I've got an unripe one in there in the mix. Yeah, I got a dozen or so blueberry bushes here in this patch. I'm going to multiply them. And I want to put them all in between my my citrus trees here. I got a couple that I brought over here. These were in the shade and they really didn't flower or fruit this year. I think they were just too far underneath that big magnolia tree I have there. So I moved them out here, but I'm kind of thinking I'm going to put one behind this Hamlin citrus here. That's a juicing orange. This one was actually in the front yard. I just moved it like a week ago or so, because you can see the leaves, they're like light green, and there was just too much shade out front, and the dirt was like really sandy. So back here the dirt's way darker and loamier, but you can compare, like, here, I'll take a leaf off of this thing so you can see how light that is. And then here's a Valencia orange tree. You see the leaves are a lot healthier, a lot darker, which, yeah, this thing's absolutely loaded. It's just got little fruits everywhere you look. And this is a wintertime fruit, so it's kind of the idea. I just want to have something growing, you know, every season if possible. Every month it's going to be tough to reach that goal, but it's a goal nonetheless. The mulberry tree's done. It might have round 2 later in summer, but these were the first berries to harvest this year. They're kind of like late winter, early spring. So it's like you got mulberries, and then blueberries and blackberries. I'm going to show you the mango tree. I have 4 mangoes this year. The first time, last year it fruited, but all the fruit dropped. I'll check out these peppers. I love having a couple of hot peppers. I don't grow a huge garden. My neighbor gave me these tomatoes. That was nice. I just put it right in the ground. A lime tree. This lime tree, I wish I could put in the ground. It was in the ground, but it got a lot of freeze damage. The main stalk died all the way back. The graft is somewhere down here. I don't know, this thing still may not make it, but it's been growing. This shoot grew out after I cut it, and it's a decent sized tree now, but I have to keep it in a pot and greenhouse it during winter. It's the most sensitive to cold out of all the citrus, the limes. All right, here we go. Here's the mangoes. All 4 of them. Now I got to prune this tree a certain way to keep it greenhouseable in the winter, if that's a word. Greenhouseable. Now you get what I'm saying. I just got to keep it low and bushed out. Check out how tall the trunk is on it. When I first bought it, the first thing I did was I cut it. It's kind of like heartbreaking to do that, because you're like, oh, I'm cutting a brand new tree and I spent $60 on it, but look what it did. That trunk is maybe a foot tall, and then it just branches out from there. And that's how I'm able to keep this thing shaped the way it is. But after I harvest these fruits, I'm gonna further shape it, because, you know, every time you cut a main branch, usually it's gonna multiply. So you kind of want to branch it off, let it multiply, then over time just have it multiply, multiply, multiply. And then you get very many different branches for it to flower and fruit from when you do it that way. Yeah, here's one of the figs I air grafted off that big fig tree. You can already see it has fruit on it. It's not doing as well in a pot, but see the leaves are a little yellow. A few of them. I'm probably going to plant this tangerine tree right here. I got a whole row along this fence line, and I'm thinking of just planting a bunch of citrus, almost like making a hedge. Got some pineapples and papayas. Pineapples and papayas are a little bit more oddball because they can flower and fruit any time of the year. The problem is in wintertime when it gets too cold, they could stall. But ironically, in wintertime is when most of my papayas start ripening. I want to show you some of the wild berries I have. I have both wild blueberries and wild blackberries. This pawpaw tree, look at this thing. It's really taken off this year. This is another one I cut. I cut it back down and it branched. I like doing that to all my trees. I mean, you can tell they're more bushier than tall. That's how I like them. Because, I mean, who wants to reach up really high to get fruit? The whole point of having the trees is for fruit anyways. And if a hurricane comes or high winds or whatever, you know, it's less likely a branch will break. And here we go. Look at all these wild blackberries. They're tiny little things. They're a little bit of work to pick, but in my opinion, they're the best tasting. They're really rich. Yeah, they taste better than the other blueberries. The other blueberries are bigger and plumpier. These have better flavor. I just got them growing all over the place here in the back. Like back here, all the way back to the other side. They just spring up. Now let me find these wild blackberries. I mean, I'm staring at the bush right now, but I want to see if there's any fruit because I may have eaten it all. Let's see. We got a red one, still not ripe yet. There's a little guy here. Yeah, that's past its prime. Tastes more like alcohol. Yeah, hunting for blackberries is not the thing you really want to be doing. These are the worst vines if you get your hands stuck in it. Here's a little guy. But yeah, a couple days ago, I got a couple handfuls of them back here and they were excellent. I have another spot, but it's out in the woods. Man, I weed whacked this thing like 2 weeks ago and it's already grown up. Let me switch this video around. Look at that. Walking out here in my shorts. Hopefully there's not a big rattlesnake or a water moccasin. All for you guys to show you wild blackberries. And maybe you don't even care. But you know what, I care. Here we go. Check it out. None of them are ripe. Well, that one's ripe, but they're all mostly red. Yeah, I'm gonna get out of here. There's a horse fly flying around me. Here's some of that soil I mined out in the woods. Made a video on it. It's very rich. You can check out a previous video. You can kind of see it. There's like a hole back there with some water in it. Right in the dead center of the shot here. That's where I mined this dirt. I used it for planting a couple citrus trees out front since the dirt quality isn't really that good. So this is the tilapia pond. I went out the other day and got a bunch of aquatic floating weeds. All this stuff. It's got little roots on the back, floats. And the tilapia love to eat it. They take their time with it though, but I feed them other things, like there's a squash plant, there's a papaya leaf. I have a yam vine growing there. I got other yam vines around the property, but they like eating that. That's kind of like a potato. And then I got the bug zapper and I turn that on once the sun goes down, and they basically sit right here all night long. And I can stand up here on the porch and just look, and you just see them swirling the whole night, just grabbing flies as they hit the water surface. And this thing goes off all night long. I mean, I would imagine hundreds, if not thousands of flies end up right here. And the next morning, you can't find any because they eat them all. I see them all swimming around, but it's very hard to tell with all this stuff in the way. But I do plan on eating tilapia. I got tomato plants that just pop up randomly. Right next to my barbecue pit, look at that. Those little Everglade tomatoes. That's another good one for Florida. They just pop up on their own now. But this is an area I cleared out a few weeks ago, and I just wanted to widen my yard really close to the property line. I probably added another 5 feet or so of width going down this whole stretch here. And one of my neighbors had bagged oak leaves, so I grabbed those bags and I mulched the whole area with it. Just trying to keep it grass free, weed free. But I planted a tangerine tree and one of those Cara oranges. They're like a, oh, what's the name of it? They're red inside. They're not a blood orange. They're like a navel orange, but they got a little twist of a flavor to them. And I love them. They're awesome. Orange juice, or just eating as they are. Ah, the azaleas. I think these are azaleas. Or hydrangeas. I forget. I'm not a flower expert. I like to eat. The women plant those kinds of things. But they're pretty. They attract the bees. Yeah, that one's sweet. This is my lemon tree. I'm gonna have at least 2 or 3 solid months of big glasses of lemonade every single day. And these are Meyer lemons. They get big, they get like softball size. You can't really buy these at the grocery store. And lemons are expensive too. I mean, they're like, you go to Publix, they're like 88 cents each. And these things are ginormous when they're ready to harvest. One of these is like 3 Publix lemons, so it's like each lemon, if I'm harvesting a lemon a day, you just figure $1.50 or so in value. times a couple months, I mean, yeah, that's $100 right there. Look at this guava tree. It's got so many guavas on it. This thing should be like 8 feet tall, but it just falls to the ground. It's another good tree for North Florida. Is this, I don't know exactly what they're called. I think cherry guavas. I had somebody tell me that they are Mexican guavas, but regardless, the cold weather does not really affect them. And that's the name of the game up here growing fruit. Is zone 8, 9. It's kind of a, you can get away with certain things zone, but not really. You got to baby everything to, if it's tropical at least, you got to baby it to get it to stay alive. So you got to be very picky on where you plant things, and if you keep them in a pot, you put them in the ground, or you're gonna have a cover over them during the winter. But like a safe bet is a peach tree, for example, because no winter here will ever kill it. And I guess the worst case scenario is winter doesn't get cold enough and then it won't flower. But I don't think that's gonna happen. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video. That is what it's all about. Take care.